Penguins. Everybody loves these charismatic flightless birds. I personally love how naturally curious they are, and they can be very naughty as well. But did you know that half of all penguin species are considered a threatened species? Hi everyone, my name is Sophie, and I'm joined by my colony of Humboldt penguins just behind me, and we are here today to celebrate Penguin Awareness Day. This day is all about raising awareness about penguins, how amazing they are, their environments, but sadly also their reducing numbers in the wild. To celebrate, here are 5 facts about penguins. Let's dive in. Fact number 1. There are 18 different species of penguin, all of which live in the southern hemisphere. Out of these 18 species, only 2 can truly call the Antarctic continent their home. These are the emperor penguin, which is the largest of all penguin species, and the Adelie penguin. Not all penguins like the cold. That's a bit of a common misconception. Our Humboldt penguins, for example, come from the coastlines of Chile and Peru. You can find a penguin called the little penguin in Australia and New Zealand, and an African penguin in southern Africa. Penguins can't fly, at least not in the traditional sense anyway, but they can fly underwater. They're very fast swimmers. They can swim at speeds of up to 15 to 25 miles an hour. 2 adaptive features of penguins that help them swim this fast are their streamlined bodies and their webbed feet. Some penguins spend up to 75% of their lives actually in the water. King and emperor penguins have been known to hold their breath for 20 minutes whilst they dive to depths of over 500 metres in search of all their favourite fish to eat. If you look closely at some of our penguins that are on the rocks behind me here, you'll notice that they have a little pattern of spots on their tummies. These patterns are unique to each penguin, and they'll stay the same throughout their life. It's a little bit like our human fingerprints and how they are individual to each of us. This is how I can recognise each of my individual penguins when they're on the land. You may also notice that they've got little coloured bands on their flippers, and this is how I can identify them whilst they're swimming around in the water. There's been some recent research that suggests penguins in the wild can actually find their mates in crowded colonies by looking at the spot patterns on chests as well. And they can recognise individuals by their calls as well, because they can be very, very noisy birds at times. A group of penguins, whilst they're swimming around in the water, is called a raft. But on land, they're called a colony, or my favourite, which is a waddle of penguins. Penguin populations are sadly declining. Half of the penguin species are listed as either vulnerable or endangered. This sadly makes penguins the second most threatened bird group in the entire world. Unsurprisingly, one of their most imminent dangers is global warming and the changing of oceanic conditions. The loss of the Antarctic ice could actually cause the emperor penguin to be nearly extinct by the end of the century. Other threats are direct human activities such as oil spills, gas and oil drilling, plastic pollution and overfishing. So you may be wondering what you can do to help. If you eat fish just like our penguins do, then please make sure it comes from a well-managed, sustainable fishery. When you're out shopping, you can look for the MSC certified logo on your packaged fish. You can cut back on how much plastic you buy and how much plastic you are using. You can save energy by turning off appliances when you're not using them. You can reduce your carbon emissions like walking or cycling instead of driving wherever possible. And now that the weather's getting a little bit colder, instead of turning the heating all the way up, you can just pop on an extra layer. You can visit your local zoo or your local sea life to learn more about these amazing animals, support their conservation work and fall in love with them. Thank you for listening, and I hope you've learned something new about these very lovable birds.